Alright, I think we're about ready to go live. And pop out the chat. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, looks like we've got XX, Bodger, or should I call you Pretzel? Sorry, Pretzel and Miss Pretzel. Really? Alright. I might just wait around a little bit. I know this is a bit of a short notice situation because believe me, I only just realized what happened. And so naturally I wasted a good solid half hour doing a thumbnail to convey my disdain towards my own incompetence, I must say. Hey there, Alan. Ashes. Ah, Pedro, you know it was my own incompetence. I wish I could truly blame the eBay, but the information was there and I glossed over it because I was too eager for it to be what I wanted it to be. And if there's one excellent way of making sure that it's going to be what you want to be, it's to ignore everything that says otherwise. Hey, creature. Hey, Woodside. Oh, yeah, that caught me out there. Good one, Woodside. Microsoft Bodger. Yes, I know you're trying to be kind, right? Hey, Raj. Alright, so the simple fact of the matter is that I was on eBay and I was going to try a new thing called Fix&Gift, which is essentially, I've got a lot of old chassis, 2015, 2017 type MacBooks, and they're not doing anything here. They're basically going to either become scrap aluminium alloy or they're going to become bin fillers. And I thought, you know what? I'll invest a little bit of money and I'll buy some boards and I'll get some MagSafe chargers and get some new batteries. And I will build a bunch of machines that then I can give to some people. And because the 1466 is a pretty decent machine to start with. And so I got these, but I thought this is good. Then I might get one or two of these fixed and it should be good. But lo and behold, a week or so after I received these boards, I go to start fixing them and I go, wow, that's interesting. There's some scratchy marks on here. What's the scratchy marks? And that's when it dawned on me what's going on. These are likely via an Apple-approved recycler. And what Apple requests them to do is to permanently destroy the boards by cutting through them. And as you can see, they're all nicely jacked up. So, and it's not just a simple one layer cut. They do seem to go down into the ground layer a little bit. Yeah, that one there might actually be okay there. But that one too. Yeah, that one might be doable. Yeah, this person was a little weak-wristed, so I'm kind of happy about that. Mind you, they're only the 2015s, and I really wanted the 2017s. Yeah. So yeah, the boards have been... Oh no! I didn't see those under the CPU. It just gets worse. Oh no. Yep, no. Far out. As if it wasn't bad enough to do those two, they also did the CPU ones. What a load of seance. Oh, fuck. Just gets worse. So basically, I've spent the money, bought these boards, thinking that I was going to be able to do something good with them. And it turns out I got screwed. And now it's even more screwed. If it had been just those two, I might have had a chance. But under the CPU, I'm not so sure. And I'm scared now to see what is on the other side. I mean, for parts, sure, they're great. They're going to have good... These boards are actually probably fully functional. There's probably nothing wrong with them, other than the fact that they've got gouge marks in them. But there's nothing on... I've got plenty of donor boards, if you have SMCs and all that sort of gear. Yeah, what am I going to do? And what's annoying is that I really should not be spending this kind of money at the moment on things that aren't going to directly return a profit, so to speak. But I thought, no, let's do something good for the community. It seems like the only community I did good for was the eBay seller, whom, like I said, did note it, but it was just something I skipped over. Far out. Yeah, they were listed for parts. I don't have... There's no real point for me for CPU transplants either. Let's see. Geez, I really dug into that one. Oh, and the top... It just gets worse. And the top two. I was thinking I might have some iota of a chance, but no, and I can see they've definitely dug into that. I really want to scream. I really want to scream and throw these across the room, in all honesty. I just want to throw them across the room. Throw them across the room and... yeah. These are utterly 100% very likely not fixable at all. I mean, we can, for the sake of being an idiot, we can maybe try this one. I think it's not too bad. Like I said, this is the weak-wristed person. But there is no way I can give this to someone. The only reason I would do anything with this is just for the hell of seeing if it can be fixed. Arilla was a bit over $100. So it wasn't the worst, but like I said, it's really... now is not the time or place for me to be spending money on things that... Yeah, if I spend $100 on an iPhone screen and then I get $150 back, then yeah, I'm making profit. This... Anyway, this is making a profit now, is if this video gets 1 million views, which it obviously is not going to. So, yeah. It's a pretty good example of no good deed goes unrewarded. No good deed indeed. And some people go, yeah, well, you know, you're just being punished because you weren't truly altruistic. You know you were going to do it for the videos. Yeah, you're going to try and pull a Joey Does Tech, whatever he does. What is it? What's his profit or loss series or something? Yeah. So, yeah, people are going to be saying, yeah, you tried to do that. What I was actually trying to do is clear my workshop out of old machine gear, but actually make it in a way that people would be able to get something out of it. Arilla for the lot. Yeah, oh god no, there's no way I'd be... You'd only be paying that much if it was a genuinely working board. And I'm also just as angry with myself for the fact that I didn't read every last word of that, of the listing, and I didn't inspect every last picture of the listing. So it's my own dumb fault. And these are 1.6s. I thought they were supposed to... Oh, these are the 2015s, that's why. yeah, so like I've got plenty of Wi-Fi modules and everything that I can use, but anyway, let's say we see if we can even resurrect this one. Yeah, it's just hilarious how the more I looked at it, the more I got effed over. If they'd done just these two here, I might have had a chance, but I'm not too so sure about the CPU situation. Anyway, let's see what we can do. I don't think that prediction's going to hold, Bodger. I wish it would, but I have a feeling it won't. The only thing this has done is just aggravate the living crap out of me. And made me very reluctant to even take this whole idea any further. Because I have a feeling that this is just the universe's warning shot to me. Saying, don't even try it, buddy. Just stick to what you do. Because, you know, you got to be defiant about this stuff sometimes. Okay, so we're going for the easy stuff first. I have to be careful with those traces because a few of those are going to be touching ground. So realistically, we kind of have to carve away from around where they've cut. Hey, Defcom. Defcom, the only thing is they're all like bits and pieces units. They're not actually working chassis or anything like that. Yeah, not working machines. And that was the whole idea here, was that I would convert... I need a new blade. I was investing money to be able to make the machines whole again, so to speak. Where's my knife stuff? The other thing is they're just actually not worth shipping either. So it was going to be local. Because I know there's enough people around here who could really do with, yeah, just something like a 1466 would be just perfect. Pedro, you should not do that. You and I already have an agreement and a deal. But thank you very much. Peter sending through three Pavarottis to try and sing some happy tunes to me. Hey, Danny Brooks. Okay, so we've got ourselves a nice fresh blade, which is always nice. Hey, B-Blood. Trying to decide. So I don't really want to cut, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to. Damn it, see, that's why I don't really want to cut, because it does tend to snap the blade, as it did. Like I said, the risk is if I don't cut it, then this copper is probably touching, good chance it's going to touch somewhere along the line onto the ground plane. So we have to come back. And that's okay because that's just part of ground. That's ground. That's ground. That test point did get hit, but I have a feeling it's... Let's see, just chop the head off it. There we go. It's free and clear now. Live free and prosper. This is fine. This big here, it's just going to go straight past that. Let's see, you want to upgrade from your 2012 Retina. Let's see, so you probably want... wait, 2012 Retina, so what is that, 13 or a 15 inch you got there? So 1502 or 1398? The big problem with a lot of them is that there's just so many bits and pieces on them that are sort of failing here and there. Even stuff that you're pulling out of well-stored storage stock. Like I did a couple of speaker replacements for 1398 recently, and a couple of weeks later they also failed, even though they were pristine when I installed them. It's just the plastics, kind of like cars, the plastics and rubbers are just deteriorating. Alright, so you got a 1398. If yours is 2012, actually, you've got the U8900 shoe rubber fix one. That's always entertaining. Alright, we need some UV cure. So I'm guessing you've already done the U8900 fix. Finding a good working 1398 2015, that's going to be a challenge in itself. It's like mercurochrome, except it's blue. Ah, I forgot to do that one. Honestly, I wouldn't even know what to suggest at this point in time that would be a good replacement for that. Because A1990, A2141, they're definitely off the list. I would say the only thing at this point might be just like the new 2015 MacBook Air. Not 20. What am I talking about? The 15-inch MacBook Air, the new one, the M2 or whatever it is. That's not even so crash hot either. Oh, son of a gun! I just killed the tip. Why not sell your rent apartment? Because I'm not trying to sell things as such. Like I said, I didn't want to dump the stuff. I don't want to ship the stuff. But I was willing to fix it and gift it. Hence the name. Hey Paul, welcome. Welcome to the Mr. Grumpy Pants stream right now. I've just been letting loose. Because as if it was bad enough when I actually did the thumbnail, I found it's actually gotten worse. Anyway, 60 seconds for curing the UV. Just to clean your shop. What's this? Why not sell? Honestly, Arilla, the big problem is that it's less drama to just shovel that stuff in a box and dump it. It really, because the guys down at the dump, they know what I'm doing in terms of repairs and things like that. So I usually give them the chassis and the batteries separate and all that sort of stuff, and they do their recycling with it. So yeah, normally that would be my process. I'd just put it into recycling. It's done. It's gone. I don't want to. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to care about it. But then I thought, I got the inspiration. I thought, hey, you know what? Particularly with the 1466s, I can make working machines out of those 1466 chassis and give them to people. And yeah, well, we've already seen how that's worked out so far. It's a complete crap fest to start with. And honestly, the loss of the money on these boards without there being a realistic chance of repair, it sort of stings, but it's more the fact that it was in a poor expenditure. So, I could have done better with the expense. And it just has taken that it's taken that psychological momentum out of me. That's the problem. And if there's one thing that's very difficult to develop as you get a bit older, I found, it is that being able to get that momentum, that incentive to go out and do things. It just gets harder and harder to kick yourself in the backside and get up and do something. So when you do get up and then you get shoved straight back down because of your own stupidity or lack of looking, it then takes you even more energy to get back up. So yeah, cranky pants in full effect. Don't let it get to you. Well, it's a bit late now, isn't it? And look at that. I've already broken my tip. See if we can do a bit better with a broken tip there. And I was feeling good today because I did some more fence sections. I've done all the brickwork for the wedge, and the wedge is now open, and the kids are very much enjoying that. But there is the non-wedge area that I'm also redoing because Milo did dig out of the non-wedge. He dug out of the main area as well, and I just very quickly threw down whatever blocks I had to block his way out, which is how I got the idea to buy the bigger and better blocks. But now I'm going back to that section and redoing it with the better blocks. Anyway, I've run out of better blocks now. I'll get another slab of those or another pallet of them. But that will come in good time. Defcom, is your current one dead, or is something else? It's just failing, like as in it's just degrading, or? Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, this thing's obviously going to go for a wash at some point. Milo will not always win. Hey there, Joey. Tried to play your type of game and the game played me instead. Okay, what sort of lines are these? They're medium current sort of lines. My butt could be super glued. Yes, well, that is always a option. Might be an improvement on the current situation. Joey, I'm going to remind you of what you just said when you're 50 and see how you feel. Believe me, when I don't like this whole talk in my day sort of bullshit, but definitely when I was the age that you are now, I still had pretty much boundless energy. People who knew me back then when I was doing the model aircraft business and stuff like that knew that I was Like, I would design a new aircraft, go out, test it, revise it, build the whole damn thing in one day, by hand no less. Yeah, we didn't have laser cutters back then so easily. And then this one you'll be able to resonate with. One day I decided, my office needs a makeover. So I started in the morning, pulled out all of my office in a 4x5 meter room, repainted the whole thing, ceiling and walls, reinstalled all of my office, all in one day. And you're probably like, yeah, it's not a big problem. In which case, I do apologise. But yeah, that was a significant feat. And I look back at those things that I did back then, and I'm like, wow, where the hell did that energy go? Hey, Croupier. Well, we know about your painting story, Joey. Remember you told us in secrecy not to say anything to your wife? We know all about that now. She'll hear, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, time for you to toe the line. Now we've got you. We've got you where we want you. Welcome to the club. Joey does apology. Make sure you got your crying technique down. Cry on demand, very, very essential technique you got to have. When things are getting a little too harsh, you got to dig down and pull that one out so that you can escape the situation momentarily. It'll come back to you. Don't worry about that. The situation will always come back to you, but it'll give you that moment to regain your strength a little bit. Yeah, my flux is getting a bit gooey here. Welcome along anyway, Joey. Good to see you here. Shouldn't you be editing videos though? I'm not going to say what you're doing, but yeah, shouldn't you be editing? Ach, niemand. The wire is actually a little bit big for this. It's a little excessive for the task. But I'm sticking with it because it's what I got. What do you consider a good machine? Something new? Well, see, that's the problem. See, it depends, like, are we talking before or after it fails? I think the 15-inch M2s, I think if they're working alright, they're fine. But if they're not, then it's a disaster. You could try your hand at something like an A1990, or hell, even a 2141, as long as you keep it clear. You keep those clean and they should be okay, but obviously they have their VREG issues on the SSD, or the NANDs rather. But aside from the NAND SSD issues, the 2141 and the 1990 are actually not bad. Hey, tradie Trev. Just finished charging. Hey there, JCT. How are you? How's things over there in the Rainbow Nation today? All shiny and bright and happy. At least you guys aren't getting, what do you call it? You're not getting electricity rationing anymore, are you? $26.81. They're not 15 inch though, are they? They're only 14 or 13. I've got a couple here actually. Gonna need a little bit of heat to lift this off. I need a tip on my nozzle. And of course, Stefan, yeah, the 1398 is the last one of that size that you can get with a removable drive. Like I said, if you put aside the whole removable drive and memory and all that sort of thing, then I think the 1990 isn't a bad machine. And they're cheap enough if you can find it. Well, I shouldn't say too cheap, but hey Greg, morning. Yeah, Tradie, I'm all worn out from flipping. I'm surprised I didn't smash the CPU in all honesty. If I was trying to be diabolical, I just would have smashed the CPU. I am not liking the fact that this blade has lost its tip. What if I can do a grind down? Hey there, boss. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to test to see what these are. Because it'd be funny if they're just test points. But because it's not too often that they will lead out to a test pad like this and have veers under them. But in saying that, I'm pretty sure I can see veer indents in there. See that there? That little tiny mark there? That's usually because there's a veer there. But these ones don't appear to have it. These ones do. Oh, that one's got one. Yeah. Tradie, no. The damage is from a Apple approved recycler. So what happens is Apple will approve some people to dispose of / recycle their machines. And part of that compliance is that they destroy the machine. Which is exactly what they've done here. And they did it with a fat old Stanley knife or something like that. And they've cut it above and below the CPU and several other areas. And of course I was an idiot and didn't look for that kind of damage when I bought the damned eBay auction. I should have known, because Pedro didn't buy anything from the auction, so it was like, that should be my first clue that something was sus. Paul Howe. Paul Howe. Thank you very much for the 100, Paul. Yeah, that's very, well, I won't lie, that does cover the losses. Now, normally we would have to go for the cat house for that, but I think for this particular instance I'm going to have to try now reinvest and try and get this whole thing started again. It just, like I said, it's just sort of taking the wind out of me. I know I shouldn't complain. But sometimes, yeah, you can just get a little sick of getting the energy, getting knocked down, and you're just like, you know what? I feel like I just want to lay down here for a little bit first. Hey there, Wholesome. Keith? Yeah, well, that's the other thing is, yeah, I just don't feel like the universe has any sense of karma or anything like that. It's just, the universe is just a great big bus driving down the road, and the driver is asleep, and it's just taking out anyone that gets in the way. It doesn't matter whether you're being good or bad. It doesn't influence the odds, it seems. Alright, now the problem here is that they've... I don't know if that's cleared out. So I don't want the traces touching ground. I don't think they actually got to ground on this one, so I'm very lucky. There is something just there. I know. Joey, if you're still there, I'm going to have to get myself one of those switchboards because I'm really kind of surprised about the fact that those inductors that you replaced last night are going to ground. It doesn't make sense from a design perspective. So I think that those lines go somewhere else. And if they do go to ground, that's interesting in its own right, and I still want to have a look. There's some switch lights going around here for about $180 Australian, so 90 quid in your currency. You got a bollocking at work today for taking yesterday off, even though I spent Sunday night till Tuesday morning at work. What? Thank you very much again, Paul. Really, it's yeah. I don't tend to convey a lot of emotion with my streams. If you want emotion and expression and things like that, then people like Joey are very good at that. Much better than I am. I'm a little bit... I've gone to the deadpan side, I'm afraid. Unless it's rage. I seem to manage to find that. So why did they do that to you, Defpalm, given that you worked on the weekend? Funnily enough, I actually thought you worked for yourself. That's weird. Once again, assumptions. It's what got me into this strife in the first place, didn't it? There's some trace reveal down there, but they haven't cut through it. It's just more they've exposed the trace, the presence of it. But I don't believe it is actually... I believe it's intact and hasn't been forced onto ground or anything like that. Oh, this is certainly abusive. I want to cut that little piece, but I don't, because if it breaks off here, I'm going to have a hard time getting that access to that. Alright, a bit of blowing. Ah, damn it. Yeah, the knife did start to blunt up a bit, so it was more just mashing rather than slicing. I'm fairly sure half of these are just only test points. Let's put the continuity on to ground up. No, let's go diode mode and see if anything comes out. Okay, let's see. Open, it's interesting. Open, 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 open. I might not actually do any of these until I confirm that the board doesn't work because of them. Okay, none of those read anything. So it's quite possible that they are actually all just test points. That sucks pretty bad, actually. And B-Blood, that also sucks pretty bad. Now that I'm over 50, they do keep trying to send me those little notices. It's like, hi, we'd like to investigate you further. Would you like to know more? I'm like, no thanks. Hey there, Yeti. Okay, alright, so these definitely we need. They're some hefty power rails. Thankfully, because the damage is not so bad, I can actually, and it hasn't gone to the ground, I can actually probably just fillet them with solder. This one here is seemingly going nowhere, thank God. They are not broken as far as I can tell. So I just really, this one here probably is okay. These two, I just have to fillet. Geez, B-Blood, that's kind of scary. Thanks, mate. Just, yep. Scare the dillies out of me. Why not? Why not? As if I don't already worry about it already every day. Okay. No, Def Pom's an Aussie, aren't you, right? Yep. Ugh. Okay, fillet 1, fillet 2, and we'll just fill that one up for good measure. Well, there's a tiny smidge of a chance this might actually boot now. What do you reckon, folks? What's the numbers? What are we going for? You think do or die? Think it's going to do anything? It's going to go up in a blaze of glory? Looks like Tradie Trev has been infected with Joey's calls. Zero magic smoke, yeah. So we're going to have this. This is my test MagSafe thingamajig. It's all we really need to test these boards, at least initially. So we may get lights showing up on here, but what we really want is for the green light to blink. If the green light blinks, then it means we actually have a booting CPU. Of course, that assumes I can even find my MagSafe cable. Got it. Alright, plug it in the USB-C MagSafe cable. Let's see. Alright, here we go. I didn't do the 1, 2, 3. Powering up. So this is the one we want to blink. Current looks good. 500, 400 to 600 is about what you want. I always call it dead before it. Oh shit, it actually blinks. It blinked. Alright, let's put it in a chassis and see if it boots. Chassis, chassis, chassis. You don't blink no more. Ah, you don't have a keyboard. Flex. Now there you are. Okay, this is actually for a 34, 37, but it doesn't matter. That's what's so nice about the 1466s, is that the chassis is applicable across a fairly good range of years. Might just stick the heatsink back on it for a second. The thing is, I can't really... you don't want to give this out to somebody. This would be like giving a wheelchair with faulty brakes to someone. Yeah, it's just not the sort of thing you do. I'm not a George Costanza. I mean, for one, I've got heaps more hair. Okay, you little flecks have to get pinned down. It's just the keyboard backlight flex, but it's going to snap off any second. Thing is, Defcom, yeah, this is a 1466, which is kind of like backwards from what you've got now. There's no retina. It's slower, everything. I'll see if I can find you a better machine. Although, to be honest, there's probably machines on your local Facebook marketplace that are going to be much better value for money. As I said, if you can find yourself a nice M1 series machine, like the 2337, which really is kind of like a replacement of this, is a nice machine, but it may not be big enough for you. That's the problem. Physically, that is. If I had an A1990, I would sell that to you. You could, some people might say get, the other ones you could try is like an A1707. If you look around for an A1707, but you really want to make sure it's coming from an area where they do not have, they're not seaside or humidity or anything like that, because when they work, they're great. But the trouble with the A1707s is that they always build up corrosion on one side of the wing, and it takes out your touch bar. It just takes out everything. If they haven't routinely cleaned it out. Where's my fan, man? Yeah, A1707, I would say. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but yeah, 1707 is probably the one that you might actually get along with. And the nice thing is that you can always, well, not always, even though the drive is soldered onto the board, they do have the lifeboat recovery option. It's not a guaranteed recovery option, but it does usually work. The chicken wing, yeah. It's always on the chicken wing by the, what's the damn chip called? Banjo chip? No, it's not the banjo. It's the, I've forgotten what the chip name is. But anyway, it's a big chip, U3900. Look around, see if you can find a low mileage 1707. Okay, we've got a boot. That just kind of flashed out then. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, it's because it was, yeah, I know why it did that. The firmware on this board is Big Sur, or was Big Sur, and it does that reset. Definitely, at least in New Zealand, your weather's a little bit cooler, so you might have a chance. Okay, we may... Oh, here we go, we're booting. It's booting a bit slow, though, so I'm not sure whether we've got a sensor issue. It should have booted by now, or it's just a flat battery. Tradie, I have got a few of the Zapper boards here that I can send one over to you. The big problem with the Zapper is you've still got to route cables, so I did a few of them. It's a good solution, but it is still a little bit of a delicate solution. I hate routing the line across the board edge though. Okay, my hinges are a bit sloppy. No, 85%, so it's not the battery's fault. Let's see, let's stick this under here. Okay, well, it's good to know that all those points below the CPU were irrelevant. Like I said, we could still have a sensor fault. We'll see what the Valley benchmark comes up with. Well, Defcom, see, that's the thing. These boards usually are not dead. That's the tragic part of it. They are usually perfectly fine boards, but they've come from, say a school had them. And then Apple agrees to let the school give all the machines to a recycling center on the grounds of the fact that the recycling center does that kind of damage, because 9 times out of 10 there's nothing wrong with the machine. That's the thing that that's what everyone screams about. It's like, these are perfectly good machines, or they were perfectly good boards, but they get explicitly destroyed for those reasons. Okay, we're posting in the 100 degrees for the CPU and the GPU, so that's good. I know it sounds really strange to say that, like, wow, we're doing 100 Celsius on the CPU, but in a MacBook on these, what it lets you know is that it is actually content to send the full power to it. Whereas if you do have a fault, it will tend to keep it under like 70 and things like that. You won't be seeing full power going into the machine. That's fine. See if it runs off battery. Yeah, it runs off battery. Let's just confirm that the Wi-Fi works. Shut down. And I will put an SSD in there. iPhone grinding incident. I didn't see that one, but I can imagine exactly what it was. Let's see. SSDs. SSD. What? I've got an NVMe in there, but not an actual Mac SSD. Ah, here we go. Yes, liking the stream does apparently help the channel. I don't know the technicals ins and outs, but apparently any sort of interaction tends to be beneficial. Wow, that's like over 1,100 jobs ago. It's a long time ago. I've got it all X'd out, so it means it's probably dodgy. This is a 512 gigabyte. That's got to be faulty. There's no way that's functioning and in my stack. Okay, this one I know is going to be okay to use. I don't know what's going to come up on it, but it should be okay to use. It's from 2019. I think it's probably safe for me to scrub it nowadays. I very rarely, this is why I have all of these devices, because I very rarely dispose of them in the event that the customer turns around and goes, you know that machine I gave you 2 years ago? You still got that? I'd like to get something off it. I left $5,000 of cash in the pocket. It's like, oh yeah, sorry, no, that's not here anymore. And what doesn't help is that the law here for abandoned equipment is not in any way in the favor of the shop. So essentially, abandoned equipment becomes stuff that you have to hold indefinitely, or you then effectively have to pay chunks of money to dispose of. Mostly because you have to auction off the stuff in a public auction that's been announced in multiple locations and, you know, national papers and things like that. Yeah, you have to go through the whole schmozzle. It's not worth it. Because any money you get, you have to basically put aside for when that customer one day comes back and says, I left a machine with you. I think you auctioned it. You owe me money for that. So, you know, you just... So all you do is you just hold on to this stuff. Yeah, you end up being free storage. You're allowed to charge reasonable storage fees. They don't actually explicitly state what reasonable is. That in itself is its own set of fun. But you know you're never going to get it. Unfortunately, Zach, even if you do put it in your, say, your submission terms and conditions, part of the law is that you cannot take away pre-existing rights of a customer. So if I say in my terms and conditions that they sign, I say after 90 days, as you do, you forfeit the ownership of this. I can't actually do that. They may sign that and they may acknowledge it, but the law states that I can't do that to them. They will always retain it because I am, that clause in the terms and conditions takes away their rights. So it's void. What's going on here? I don't know. It's not booting, but I'd say that's just A shonky SSD. Ooh, I've got a big question mark on that one. As you can see, I've got a few. Oh, there's an NVMe in here. What are you? And like, I just won't touch this stuff. Like, okay, that's 128 gigs. I won't touch this stuff generally because I've just found that too many times you do that and something comes back and bites you. This is another 512. Okay, this is a 512, but this is for a 1398. This is for like the one you have, DEFCON. Oh, wait, no, this is the newer style, or is it? Is it? Oh, no, that's the 2012 one, I think. Yeah, 512 gig 2012. Right. Nothing on that one, eh? Or is it not detecting it? It's possible it is not detecting the SSD. That is entirely possible. We'll try a different one. I definitely don't have my second-hand license. I'm not sure I'd ever want one. I do get a lot of people asking me if I deal in second-hand goods, like, you know, do I buy and sell? It's like, nope. I will, if I buy something from someone, it's on a personal capacity, likewise selling it. So we get the Apple logo straight up, but then it doesn't really do anything. But it must be sensing it, because if it didn't, it'd either give you a flashing folder, meaning it can't find a drive, or it'll give you the crossed out, like the negated circular sign, which means it can see a drive, but it can't see anything good on it that it can use. Oh, here we go, we're booting. It just took some time. Prohibitory sign? Prohibition sign? Yeah. What's the time? 11:30. Might have to call it for tonight. And I'm just going to have to go out and see if I can find some other sources for boards. It is taking a long time to boot. Yeah, I'm going to guest user mode. So it is working. But, like I said, it's a wheelchair with dodgy brakes, so I can't really give it to anyone. I mean, I know people say, yeah, but you're giving it for free, so what does it matter? The thing is, you'd like to do your best to ensure that what you are giving to people is of quality. Okay, Wi-Fi is down, I've just noticed. Or it might be their system. Wi-Fi not configured. Okay, let's see if it can see anything. And I'm pretty sure Wi-Fi was some of the lines that were cut. So we'll have a look at that. Sokolov, did you just buy a YFC 980 SMC chip? Just plain one? Because if you did, then you need to get it from a board similar to the 3435, because they need to have firmware loaded on. I don't think you can do it from blank. Even with the Moroto SMC flash tool, you still need to have a SMC that works well enough to boot. So you have to put on the board, boot, even if it's the wrong SMC, and then you can flash it with the right firmware. Joho, that's actually probably a viable option. Okay, so the question is the Wi-Fi module dead? Okay, no, they weren't touched, or were they? Oh, I don't know. What do I know? Let's try another one. Yes, blank ones are unfortunately useless. But at least with the Moroto SMC flash tool, you've got a huge range of SMCs you can now utilize. It's just a real shame that that tool didn't exist 5 years ago. Yeah, back when we were all scrambling to find enough boards to do the SMC replacements at the time. It's great that we do have it now. I'm just sort of like lamenting that it would have been even greater if we had it earlier. Creature, I'm not exactly sure what it flashes, other than the fact that I mean, it must be updating something in the firmware, because if it's not flashed properly, if you get the wrong flash, then you'll lose your ability to load APFS files, file systems. So it's got to be more than just parameters. I'm personally happy with the text interface. It doesn't bother me at all. Okay, we do have Wi-Fi. Yep, okay, Wi-Fi is all good. Alright, so this is fully functioning, it seems. Face cam even work? That'd be a laugh. Yep, face cam works. Cool. Alright, so we had a win. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a muted win for the fact that we can't really use it. And I think we will call it a night, because it is approaching midnight. And yeah, I need to just kick back, wind down from the fiasco that tonight was, think about what my next step's going to be. I mean, thank you very much to Paul and Pedro for dropping in contributions that basically nullified the loss here, but it would have been nicer to not have to deal with that. I did notice there's some places selling 1466s very cheap. I don't know what the trouble is. The pictures that they put up for them, they're either just cookie cut pictures, as in, they've used them before, or they don't show the detail that you're really looking for. What's this? Why is Nassim talking about XZZ? Nassim, why are you talking about XZZ? You realize that's a that's a competitor to my software. Kind of curious. Oh, you're asking info. What info? All the board views and schematics that we use here are Flex board view. We don't use XZZ here. Instead we use Flex board view. There's a free version of Flex board view, so you don't even have to pay anything. But I was just more curious because, like I said, I don't think very many people ever bring up XZZ here. Yeah, we use Flexboard View, and I'll show you that. Dun, dun, dun. Schematics. Yeah, so this is Flexboard View. So like we wanted the machine that we were just working on, which is the 165, and then of course and the nice thing is you got all the diode mode values there, different parameters, and with some boards there's also the values built in. This is all data that I've put in myself over the years. So yeah, it's not XZZ. Personally, I prefer it because there's no viruses. It doesn't try to take over your system. It's a permanent purchase. You don't have to renew it every year. You just buy it, and that's it. And you get the updates for that version. Like version 5 is out, and so until it goes to version 6, which is still a couple of years away, you get updates for free. So, and then when version 6 comes out, your version 5 still works perfectly fine. It never expires. You don't launch it one day and it says, sorry, the company's gone bust or whatever. Not that I imagine XZZ would. But yeah, this software is licensed the way that I wish more software was, and that is you buy it, you effectively own it, and it never expires on you. So for that reason, it's definitely a better purchase. The only thing that catches up some people is that you have to get your own board views and schematics, but they're available on places like Badcaps everywhere. So, and we are working on ways to make that a little bit easier for everybody, so that we, yeah, like I said, make it easier. Files can be hard for you to find. Badcaps is very good for it, but yeah, if it's, you just have to ask around. And the thing is, there are other people out there who are building up large collections of board views and schematics. And here's the nice thing. I am actually working on decoding the XZZ PCB format. I can already do the outlines and the network names. So hopefully in the next year or so, anything that XZZ has, we'll have access to as well. Because interestingly, the companies like Apple, Lenovo, and so on are no longer really the gatekeepers that we're fighting against with regards to getting access to board views and schematics. The people we're now fighting against are the companies like ZXW, XZ, Refoc, whatever, because they get their hands on that exclusively and then don't share it out any further. Whereas before it used to be just like free for all, everyone can get access to this because everyone felt like, hey, we're sticking it to the man, we're sticking it to Apple, we're sticking it to Lenovo. But now we've got these new parties that are the next group that we have to try and get the data out of. So it's a bit of a nuisance. I have offered many thousands of dollars to get access to various files, and I have tried multiple different channels. But the moment they get a sniff of the fact that you're a foreigner, communications is cut off. So yeah, I can't. I've thrown a lot of money around, or tried to throw a lot of money around, and money isn't making it work. I mean, maybe I have to add yet another zero, but there's no way I'm pushing 6 figures out there for board views and schematics. That's just not going to happen. Low fours, maybe a 5, low 5 if it's an unlimited archive, but yeah, I can't go any further than that. But yeah, so these other companies are now the gatekeepers of the information that we are all supposedly meant to be sharing. It's not happening like that anymore. Yes, Master Lou's been quite good. Hopefully that doesn't get him into trouble. But every now and then, you see, that's the frustrating thing, is that we have to actually go and ask. That's what's annoying. Whereas before it used to be, once someone got it, they would be proud to share it out to the world. They'd be like, hey, I've got this, here, let's all get it. But now you have to go around, you have to find, you have to ask, and it's a pain in the backside. So And that's just for MacBooks. I mean, it's even harder for other boards and phones. I do have a few phones. The other thing is the quality of the data is terrible a lot of the times. I did do one deal and the quality of the data that I got was just crap. I basically had to go back to the schematics and have a board here myself and manually populate all the part names, the network names, and everything like that to get a working board view. So I didn't want to ever do that again. So anyway, but like I said, if I can work out the PCB format, then that should unlock a lot more things, at least for a little while. Because, yeah, it's a cat and mouse game. They will then likely change the file format into something new, probably something harder, and it'll be on yet again. So I've ranted about hiding repair information for years. All I can do is not purchase anything produced by these companies. It's difficult. It's, yeah, sometimes you really get stuck in a position where you really have to pay money or, you know, do the things you don't want to do in order to fix something. But I guess it's a judgment call. Anyway. All right, well, listen, I am out of here. Thank you for listening to me rant. And while I can't use this board for the fix and gift, at least we managed to get a working board for the hell of it. So I got 3 more. The other ones look a lot more damaged. It would have been nice to get one of the 2017s because I believe they are, I'm pretty sure they're 1.8s. And the 1.8s are the ones that I really wanted. Okay, you're 1.68. At least they are 8 gig units. Yeah, 1.8 gigahertz, 8 gigabyte RAM. 1.8. So these two were the prize boards. 1.8 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. It's a top end 1466 that will do pretty much everything you need this day and age still. And they are the ones where they doubled down on the cuts. And interestingly, on these cuts here, it's not that they cut those test points, it's just that they probably dug up the traces underneath now, and that's the problem. So these ones I can fix, but if they've dug up the traces, then it's doomed. We'll give one a go another night, but for now, I'm out of here. So thank you again for watching. Much appreciated. I'll see you on the next one. Till then, you'll take care. I'll catch you later.